you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forged Alliance Forever. Today, I have a 6v6 custom matcher on the most amazing Neuroxis map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1 in the Northwest, ending with Team 2 in the Southeast. Starting off with Team 1's Eastern player, they're working away kind of diagonally, kind of zigzagging around their lineup. We have in Ruby Red, Team 1's Commander Keen. He is a Cybern for this match, very fitting for that faction. He is a 1,000 rated player. To his southwest, we have in Light Note Tan, the Aeon player of Corbin. He is a 1,500. Again, he is playing as an Aeon. To the northwest, blending in with his environment, it is Gib 80. He is a Cybern for this match as a 1,700. To his south, the other player kind of blending in with his environment, we have in Orange Color Orange Azuros. He is a 2,100. He is the highest rated player on Team 1 and in the game overall, and he is a UEF. To his southwest, we have in Chevy Crimson JFK. He is a Cybern for this match as a 1,400. And last but not least, for Team 1, in the best color and faction combination in all of Supreme Commanderdom, it is Scorpion 75 in forest green as a UEF. So for Team 1 side of the map, they have 2 UEF, 3 Cybern, 1 Aeon. Team 1 lacks Seraphim technology. Starting off with Team 2's Northern player, they're working away, zigzagging southward around their lineup. We have in Batman Gray, Momo Uchiha. He is an Aeon for this match as a 1,300. We have in the south here Still X. He is a Cybern for this match as a 1,400 in glow-in-the-dark green. We have in Regal Purple Sweet to the southwest. He is a 1,900. He is the highest rated player on Team 2, and he's going as a Cybern for this match. And continuing on to the edge of the map here, we have Korn as a Seraphim. I think he's the one and only Seraphim of the game in Emerald Green. Again, as a Seraphim at 1,600. In Tropical Ocean Blue to his west, we have Quinch. He is an Aeon for this match as a 1,500. And rounding out the game here for Team 2 and the game overall is Chap. He is a UEF for this match in Stitch Blue as an 1,100. So for Team 2 side of the map, they have 2 Cyberns, 2 Aeons, 1 Seraphim, 1 UEF. Team 2 has all the factions represented on their side of the map. Team 1 lacks the Seraphim faction. And for these 12 players on the map, let's take a look at the reclaim situation. They have 2 Scoop Up currently sitting at 16,000 mass in reclaim. Definitely not nothing. Obviously, I like to see 100,000, 200,000, 400,000, but not every match can be like that. But it is still a little bit over 8,000 mass, probably about 300 or so, 1,300 or so mass per player. And this map does have a decent amount of mexes to grab in the middle of the map. Taking a look at Team 1 side, specifically, they have a Trimex position here that we look like Scorpion has already scooped up. Trimex position right next to Azuros, who's also scooping up a Quad Mex position to his east, and then another Trimex over here scooped up by Keen. I don't see any big grouping of mexes besides this kind of grouping up here to the northwest here for Gib. And he looks like he's going to be the Rigard Isla here for his team. So it does make sense he has at least a couple more mexes to, again, scale up that eco to get to T3 Airtech as fast as possible. Besides that, there are a couple of mexes in the middle, in the northeast and the southwest, as well as a couple of mexes in the middle. Definitely going to be one of those things where it's going to be a lot of back and forth. This will probably become no man's land for a large period of time, just because once we get to T2, T3, and especially the T4 tech, it's going to be very difficult for Team 2 to hold this side, Team 1 to hold that side, and really for much of anything to stay in the middle for a long time. We do see these kind of one-off mexes in the middle. Yeah, it's nice to have an extra mex. That's 2 extra mass per second, 6 extra mass, that sort of thing. Is it the end-all, be-all? No, but it, of course, is always nice to have a little bit extra. Gun upgrade has been started decently early here for Scorpion to the west. We do see that his opponent of Quinch has now moved up. It's starting to look like a 2v1 in the southwest here between Team 2 and Team 1 in favor of Team 2. Looks like a 3v2. Actually looks like possibly a 3v1 with Azuros falling back in the middle for Team 2. And then in the northeast, it looks like it's a 2v1 in favor of Team 1 with a gun upgrade starting here for Keen in the north. We have 2 players on Team 1 going for gun decently early, even before 5 minutes. We do see some come-on-come action between JFK of Team 1 and Korn of Team 2. And we do see that JFK finishes that T1 mix in the middle. That will be his for a little bit. Again, that's another 2 mass per second that he's getting. Speed upgrade has been started here for Quinch. T2 has been started here for Azura, so he's going defensive, while everybody else on his team so far is going offensive. I would not be surprised to see most likely Korn go for... he is the air player most likely, so maybe not. I mean, one of these two players in the middle for Team 2 definitely is going to go for T2. Maybe the other one go for gun. That's possible, or it's going to be both gun. I highly doubt that both of them are going to go T2. So at least one T2, if not both guns in the middle of the map. We do see a possible another com-on-com engagement to the northeast. Momo Uchiha versus Corbin. We do see Corbin's getting a nice little T1 PD to protect his T1 mass extractor investment. Speed is almost done on board that commander for Quinch. He's going to go for range, I would presume. Right after that, Chap starts his gun upgrade while we see Scorpion pushing in with his. He's going to shift a little bit to the west, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him hook east to go after this position. 15%, almost 20% now here for Chap's upgrade. And it is progressing a little bit slowly, but it is progressing. So pretty much by the time he's going to be in danger of being attacked by the comm from Team 1, the upgrade will be pretty far along. So he should be fine, unless it just stops in the middle of me talking about it and then it doesn't proceed. That also is a thing that can happen. We do see gun speed has been started here for Corbin in the north. He's probably going to go for range after that, especially considering he's underneath some Team 1 PD protection. A couple of units have some disagreements about color coordination, whatnot, between the Aeon forces of Momo Uchiha and Team 1's Commander Keen, who is now done with his upgrade. A lot of players are now done with their upgrades, at least on Team 1. T2 done here for Azuros. He's going to go for an upgrade for his gun. At least at the current moment, still X going for his gun. Range has been started here for Corbin. Gun is almost done here for Chap, so it's really sparse over here for units for both players. A little bit more for Team 1, but Team 2 definitely a little bit sparse in there, and that's partially probably due to the fact he's upgrading to T2 tech, or he's just spamming out that upgrade as fast as possible. We do see the advanced range has been started on board Corbin's commander, so he's going for Aeon Sniper Commander sooner rather than later. And in the northeast, those forces are being pushed back by the ones from Keen. Keen has that gun upgrade on board. Of course, the Aurora have a little bit better range, but they are tinfoil, so once you get in range, they're not that great in terms of survivability. But it is nice. Again, kind of goes with the aesthetic of the Aeon Sniper Commander. Yeah, they don't have the only sniper bots in the game, but they do have sniper bots, so it kind of is along that theme of just being at further range than your opponents. But of course, you do take the hit in the hit point department. Gun has been starting here for Still X. We do see that Sui hasn't gone for any upgrades as of yet. Still trying to patrol this environment and not allow Team 1 to really force their way through. That's really the only two ways into the middle from Team 1, is right down the southeast or right down the east, essentially. Yeah, they could swing left here, but then they'd run into Clinch, and that's not going to go very well that way. So their best way is just to go essentially straight down, right down that diagonal. We do see that Chap sends some forces in, does spot the comm. Forces continuing to push in, but it is a UEF versus UEF affair, so no advantages in technology one way or the other in terms of hit points, fire rate, that sort of thing. It's just the same UEF tech throwing shade at their brethren. Range almost done here for Corbin. He's going to have that Aeon Sniper Commander online. Maybe he'll go for shield. Maybe. Possibly maybe, but we'll see. We do see that Momo Uchiha also doesn't have an upgrade on board. And these forces get behind the forces from Keen. Keen are sending reinforcements in constantly, slowly picking apart those Aurora. But those Aurora, of course, are still sitting there. They are going to get sandwiched, so those units are not going to survive much longer. We do see a fight brewing here in the northeast as well. In the west, lots of forces now standing in front of the commander of Scorpion. He's taken a hit, but he's back almost up into the green, so he should be perfectly fine here shortly. And careful, says Gib, talking about Keen just in case, and he does follow that advice and falls back. And lots of posturing here between these two players of Momo and Corbin, but no real moves one way and the other, just in case they overextend and just kind of eat their words, essentially. Gun has been started here for Azuros. Stealth has been started here for JFK. So more utility versus gun or anything else that the Cyberns have. But of course, he has to go for stealth to go for nano. And now we see Quinch. He has the shield, gun, and speed range upgrades on board versus Scorpion's just gun upgrade. So Quinch will be in the favorited side to be, of course, surviving the encounter. But there are a lot of strikers inbound. He doesn't have that many Team 1 units nearby to support him. Trying to get a nice little Team 1 PD, which he will finish. But again, there's a lot of Team 1 units. We even see that a lot of forces from JFK move in to assist as well, who's now going for nano as we speak. But again, Quinch has just been given a nice little gift of mass, as well as a decent amount of veterancy towards at least the first star, if not, once he deals with most of these, a second star. So it doesn't really work out here for Scorpion, but he does push back Team 2 at a minimum, which is better than nothing, I would say. We have seen that. Corbin defeated by Sui in the east. I want to pause that just for a brief moment. What did he hit him with? I might go back at the end of the recording and go look at exactly what happened and post that at the end. And it looks like, yeah, Sui's all the way over here, so it wasn't his commander, so he must have died to possibly something. I don't really know. Maybe fire beetles? I highly doubt it. But it could be. I really don't know what happened. And now we see that with Corbin's death in the north, it paves the way for Momo Uchiha to push in. We do see in that, again, southwest, Chap coming in to assist and dealing with the rest of these forces from his opponent, Scorpion. We do see Nano Ripper almost done here for JFK. But again, the downside with Team 2 killing off a player for Team 1 is now another player has a second base, and that is Corbin. Not Corbin, sorry. Azuros. Corbin's the one that died. And, of course, the highest rated player having another base before 15 minutes, even before 20 minutes, could be deadly for Team 2 if they don't deal with that threat sooner rather than later. Gun has been started on board JFK's commander. Now we see Azuros pushing in with his gun and T2 upgrade versus Still X's only gun upgrade. He does have some tickle cannons online and getting more online all the time. They're not great unless they're facing off against Team 1 units. Then they are decently good, I will admit that. But again, against anything else, not that great. Of course, my opinion, of course, but still my opinion. But now with the death of Corbin, it is allowing Team 2's Momo to cut westward and go after Azuros' eastern flank, which has nothing protecting it, not even the comm. There are some PD lining up, but they're being taken up by missile launchers, these Vipers. Even if they are shot down, they're, of course, splitting off. It does look like there was a snipe attempt from Sui, so this is most likely how Team 2 Sui killed off the Corbin comm of Team 1, and they are going to do a decent amount of damage to Azuros' commander. I think he will be fine. There is some AA nearby, and it looks like there are some ASFs inbound from some friendly neighborhood Gibbs, so that looks like they'll take those out quite nicely. Oh, it's not going to be close, but it's not going to feel good, especially more Corsairs raining in. Definitely is what transpired most likely. I possibly just didn't see the Corsairs fly off the side of the map or whatever earlier on, or they just all got killed. I just didn't see anything on the wreck side of things that would illustrate, you know, that grouping of mass kind of thing. The Zeros is now in full retreat and gives Team 2 Still X a nice little advantage in the middle of the map. Now he's facing off against JFK, who has Nano and Gun on board. But of course, he does have some reinforcements from Momo that he can dip into if he is so given those. But now we see some blazes inbound. Azuros drops into the red. He's got to keep moving. There are some ASS from Team 2 trying to keep those last Corsairs online, and more of them being sent all the way, with JFK getting into mix, forcing back Still X, who only has gun on board. No nano, no stealth on board. He's going to have to get out of there and hope and make sure that he doesn't die, of course, because that would be a bad thing to happen for him. Good thing for Team 1, bad thing for Team 2. Azuros still being peppered by Corsair fire, not stopping though. He needs to get underneath some shield coverage or some AA coverage, or actually I would recommend both. But he is doing a decent job dodging. He can only dodge for so long before the firepower just becomes immense. You really can't just get out of the way of all the AA, or not AA, but the shots. And it does look like more and more of those Corsairs are being taken out by nearby AA units. So it looks like Azuros will be fine. He got a T3 Cougar online as well as a Parashield. That should keep him alive. And there are more T2AA bangers nearby here from JFK being thrown over to assist his teammate. Love that from Team 1's JFK to assist where he sees the danger, especially because JFK is, of course, microing his commander on the front line, so doing as much as he can to assist his teammates. Very good use of his APM there. We do see that Stealth is on the way here for StillX. Maybe he'll stick the upgrade, maybe he won't. There are more Tuckle Cannons as well as some Vipers nearby, and now Corsair's trying to shove JFK back. Sweet's like, well, if it isn't broken, don't fix it, and he's continuing to pump out those Corsairs to assist with forcing Team 1's comms back. He does have, of course, T2A online just because he's producing Corsairs, and of course Team 3 has T2 and T3 technically, and Team 1 has T3 as well. So far 1.5 air players for Team 2, 1 for Team 1. That may or may not change, especially in a 6v6 or 5v6 game at this point. In the Southwest, not really much happening. A couple of skirmishes. Looks like Team 2 is a little bit in favor, specifically because of the tech. In the Northeast, Nano Repair coming online here for the commander of Keen. Of course, he has Gun on board as well. Does look like Momo has gone for the sensor package and T2 upgrades, which will give him a little bit of vision. And he's actually able to see Keen's commander, be able to target him directly. Very useful there. This map isn't a 20 by 20. It's most likely a 13 by 13, maybe 14 at most, especially because I can't see the northern and southern edge of this, whatever you want to call this, gray border or whatever of the actual size of the maps can be. Units transferred over here to JFK from Azuros. Looks like he's going to be in his base, probably ecoing up, not being on the front lines. We do see that in the eco department, specifically Team 1's Gib and Azuros are leading over 100 mass, Corin at over 200 mass, and StillX at 130. Everybody else in the game below 100 mass per second, and that's really what's driving Team 2's eco, is specifically Corin sitting at 160 or so mass in favor of Team 2 versus Team 1. And again, the numbers constantly go back and forth because of the reclaim, power generation, all that sort of thing. So lots of TT units online here. Try to enclose the commander of Keen. I don't know if Team 2, he should see him. Okay, he can barely see him, so all these forces should be enough. Team 1's commander of Keen, Commander Keen. I think that makes sense. Almost at 2-star veterancy. He will get a rank in hit points once these blazes come into range, or at least line of sight, I should say, more than range. Looks like those forces are retreating with some assisting forces nearby from Azuros to push in against Momo. Momo doesn't have gun. He could easily be swarmed here. He definitely can see the units from Team 1, and he's not moving. He's trying to finish that T2 land facility. I don't know if that's the best idea to sit there, but it looks like the blazes are now retreating, or at least backing up a little bit. Definitely interesting why he didn't go for the kill there. Commander Keen pushes in, goes, oh, that's probably not a good idea, and then falls back. Maybe the blazes will come back to say hi. Maybe they won't. Lots of fervors in this mix, and I feel like they could have been traded in for some Auroras, which probably would have done a little bit better, specifically because, of course, artillery shoots where the unit was, not where it is or where it's going. I should say where it's going. Where they are shooting where it is. Commander Keen is taking a huge chunk of hit point losses, but he's now up to 4-star veterancy. He's gotten 2-star veterancies from this engagement, which will keep him alive for the long term. Still Momo not retreating, trying to get some Oblivion PD online, but that's not going to stop that group of blazes, obviously, because now he has lost all of his T2 units. In the middle, large group of forces stacking up here for Team 1. Not as much for Team 2, but they are a decent amount of bricks online, with Team 1's JFK getting some Cougars from his nearby teammate of Azuros. And he is stacking up a little bit of forces over there with some bricks of his own. So T3 land tech in the main stages here for Team 1, at least some of them. Momo Uchiha now being swarmed by Blazes and now Harbingers and Percys. That, I will say, is a dead commander for Team 2. One more shot. There it goes. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. All those forces besides the T3 are gone. And it's now a tied-up game here at 5v5 in favor of no one, because it's a tied-up game. Don't kill and I die after, says Momo. Oh, he's talking about Commander Keen, possibly. But now it looks like Sweet will get control of this base. Most likely we'll gift it over to StillX. Maybe, or maybe he'll keep it, one or the other. I don't see him giving it to anybody else, realistically. And that force is stacking up. I heard a bomber over here to the east. That is a bomber inbound from Corn. He did not go for first bomber, but that bomber is probably not going to feel well after this engagement. ASFs are going to entangle with one another. When those ASFs for Team 1's Gib get taken out, bomber, of course, targeting the T3 units from Team 1's Azuros, trying to force them back. There's not really a lot of PD or any units nearby to stop this, so that is a decent threat. Not a huge threat, but it will, of course, matter a decent amount. Another Percy taken offline. We see Team 1 PD being blitzed up to assist with defensive measures over there. In the southwest, we haven't covered much over here, but again, it's been a lot of posturing, a lot of back and forth in terms of artillery, units moving back and forth, but not a lot of land armies, at least that I have seen so far, or even monitored on the minimap over there to the west side of the screen. We do see still X still pushing in against JFK. He's taking out a lot of the smaller units. Still, that bomber will not let up. And we do see more ASFs being thrown at this bomber, killed off 2,600 mass, and it gets annihilated in its turn there and lands on the little mountain up there, so it doesn't, not easily reclaimable. It can be, but it is annoying given that it's all the way up there. We do see that with the pressure relieved from the east here from Momo Uchiha, Keen pushes in and almost isolates the entire northeastern corner from Team 2's grasp. So Team 1 almost has the entire northern edge, while Team 2 has held on to the entire southern edge for a while now. Looks like Scorpion kind of gave up on that, built a lot of wall sections, continuing to build more, and calls it a day there. Doesn't want to deal with that nonsense over there, I guess is what he's thinking. Again, Still-X is not falling back. There's a lot more units here for JFK, but Still-X again getting veterancy after veterancy after veterancy. JFK at 4 now, and Still-X only at, well, I was going to say 2, but 3 at this point. Of course, it is still a gun nano game here for both these players. Now they don't want to dipping into the cloaking tech, which both teams could do. There are no Omnis, at least on the front line, accordingly here for Team 1 or Team 2, so no one can be spotted very easily, but that is a hard counter, of course, to the cloaking commanders of the Cybern faction. Got to get that Omni online, and you can see everything. There is a random little Percy in the mix, which just gets absolutely destroyed by Still-X's commander and other brick forces. And it looks like it's just going to be a long slog back and forth until somebody gets an experimental that either throws it one direction or the other. The Southwest artillery fire still raining in. It is Miasma versus the Clink Hammers, and in my opinion, I prefer the Miasmas. Actually, those are actually Clink Hammers. Never mind. That is a UEF commander. For some reason, I thought Quinch was building those, but he is not. He has the heavy shield. Sorry, the shield heavy. Don't know why it's named like that. But he, of course, has the advanced range as well. So he is tanked up, and he is ready to use that commander for all that it is worth. I don't see a lot of movement in one direction or the other, just kind of both retreating. Maybe we'll see another engagement. These units are not giving up anytime soon. Commanders want the middle of the map. There's not a lot of mexes, of course, in the middle, but they're fighting over just the principle of the thing nonetheless. In the northeast, we have Team 1's Commander Keen again pushing into the eastern side here for against Sui. Sui still hasn't really fought that much to keep his territory. We do see that there are some units being sent in. A couple of Harmagers. Of course, they are the faster moving units versus the contemporaries of the Brick and the Percy and the whatnot. So it's nice to have some nice mobile units. Of course, the Titans are essentially the response to that, but they aren't as powerful as the Harmagers, same with the Loyalists. Of course, the Loyalists does have the one aspect of being able to redirect missiles and even Billy Nuke, so very, very useful. Of course, they can only use it. It's on a cooldown, use it once, and it's on cooldown, then he uses it again. It can't be like an infinite kind of nonsense, which would make it way OP. In that case, we do see the construction, or I should say deconstruction of the wall to the west here by a couple of Blazes and Harmagers from Quinch trying to maneuver that way. And it's just a slow erosion, not really a lot of forces, just enough to hold the position and slowly push in. Lots of ASF building here. And another bomber inbound from Corn. Going to get a nice little AoE here, kill off 2 Harmagers and take out the shields for the rest of them. That's a nice drop of a bomb. And in the middle, Team 2, Still-X just gets wiped down by JFK's bricks there. He had a brick thrown at his head, and he just could not dodge it or get it caught. by some blind hands. That's a reference to a Spider-Man movie. Technically, I think it was supposed to be a snow globe initially, and then they changed it to a brick, I think is what the initial, not cut in the movie, but the original idea was, or something along the lines of it was supposed to be something else, and then they changed it to a brick. Another bomber lands in the middle here. Team 2's Corbin, again, not really building up a lot of bombers, just building up one, sending it in. Looks like he has another one stacked up. So he's just slowly enveloping them, and if he loses a couple of them, I think he's not really worried about it. Of course, losing drop bombers isn't really great, but he's not throwing 20 or 30 of them at his opponent at this point. He's only throwing about 1 or 2 at a time. In the eastern side of things, Team 1 PD being spammed up by Swee once again to deal with this incursion from Commander Key. And again, I feel like it's just an erosion now for all of Swee's additional everything. His secondary base, or yeah, technically his secondary base is not feeling good. And it looks like, of course, with the death of Still X, the game drops from a tied-up game earlier of 5v5 to a 5v4 in favor of the northern team of Team 1. In terms of the eco situation, Team 2 1.2k, Team 1 1.2k as well. So both teams producing roughly the same amount of mass per second. A little bit in favor of Team 2, but of course that number is constantly ticking up and down. Let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win this game. Of course, if you haven't done so already, because why not? Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so very much for watching. We'll take a look at a couple of these gunships here for Swee moving in. They are whalers, but it looks like they might be killed out by the ASF from Team 1's Gib. And it does look like Gib is going to have a nice little entanglement against Corn. Corn is going to take the engagement. And it was a little bit better for him initially just because the ASFs were out of position. There is a little bit of AA underneath this. Not a terrible amount, but Corn will end up winning this engagement. I don't think... he'll probably leave with 50 or so ASFs at a minimum to make this air dominance. He's about 60 ASFs. So again, in that realm of air dominance territory, it's a little bit on the edge there, but he has a decent of air... I was going to say air ASFs, but ASFs to play with. And down the middle, Monkey moving in. Of course, Monkey isn't the best experimental in the game. It's very good against taking out weaker units, but of course, as we see with the bricks, just this group of bricks alone almost kill off the Monkey by themselves. However, just coming from Quinch to assist with protecting the Monkey Lord. He's keeping it operational. It's not feeling good for a while. We do see now experimentals being the main unit that players are going to be just throwing their mass at. Colossus is now done for Clinch in the middle, and he's sending it westward. That will break the tension over here to the west and push in. It could also be sent north to go after this position. There is an Omni online, so lots of intel coming out of that station here. Team 2 has an Omni, but it's down here, so a little bit further back from the middle, but it's still decently positioned. I just would prefer it in this base. Another Monkey Lord is online here for Swee. He's going to build another one. And Monkey Lords are nice for that kind of quick, easy experimental, but I feel like a crab would be very more beneficial. It's very annoying to chew through all of the 110,000+ hit points on board if it doesn't get veterancy or not, depending on the situation. It's just annoying. And of course, it's a long range, better range than essentially any experimental in the game. Bomb drops in the air? That was weird. Mega has been spotted by Team... Oh, he's saying Swee should build Mega is probably what he's talking about. Colossus has been spotted here by Team 1's Zeros, pushing in against Swee's base. More PD, more PD, more PD, more PD, more PD everywhere here. That's the message here for Swee is getting, is just build PD. Which again, the Oblivion PD is decent. Of course, against large armies, it has a nice little AoE with it as well, so nice little damage there, but I don't think it's going to be enough to stop the Colossus in its entirety. It'll probably stop most of those T2, T3 units inbound, but not more than that, essentially. In the west, that force with the Colossus pushing in with Chap, Percy's, and Colossus coming together. Love to see it. We do see that Scorpion is in full retreat. He's getting out of there, at least trying to, and most likely he will die. He will be able to not get out of range soon enough, or at least get out of the influence of that Colossus here shortly. And then we have a separate attack down the middle with 2 monkeys. So while Team 2 is losing the eastern side, Team 1 is gaining on, losing the western side. So they're winning the east, they're losing the west. Team 2, of course, is the inverse of that. Colossus coming in, still pushing in. It probably will get all the way to possibly Swee's position. We'll see. we'll have to kind of keep a look on things while we split things up to see what's going on both fields of combat. We do see there are some ASFs running around here, probably trying to intercept those bombers. And there goes Team 1's Scorpion, got killed off by that Colossus. The Colossus, of course, mainly focused on the comm, while the forces from Chat move into the north, going after JFK's position. Trap bombers continuing to try to delay that Colossus as much as possible. Sui needs to back up, or he's going to get killed off by the Colossus. Team 1 bombers trying to help deal with all of those hit points. And JFK is still sitting here. Looks like he's getting shot by the Percy's. One shot misses. He gets the rank and veterancy. Actually, he's had that rank and veterancy, excuse me. So it looks like he just kind of repped up his hit points back up to green and then back down to yellow. Colossus still moving in. Team 1 bombers trying to do what they can. That Colossus coming closely into range of JFK. The crab is almost done, which will distract the Colossus, of course. And there goes that Colossus. It's almost gone. Sui does make it out of dodge. And there goes that Colossus. Still, again, sitting at 3-star veterancy and a decent chunk of hit points remaining, but I think that thing is at the end of its road. Then mass dump, of course, because it killed off a lot of things on its way, and Team 1 is still mopping up the rest of, I think that was Momo Uchiha's base, I think, over to the east. And there goes the crab, of course, being lasered down by the Colossus before it could even finish. There's even those 2 monkey lords that are actually shooting at it with their longer range weapons. At this point, I think we can focus most of our attention on Azuros' main base here to the west. Of course, he has the secondary base of the Colossus. Now there are 3 monkeys over here for Team 2 Sui, and of course, he built 3 of them. One of them is now down. As I say something, of course, the second one going to go down very quickly, and the third one as well with those Ravagers over there. I don't think it'll kill off the Colossus. Of course, the crab situation doesn't help as well. The Colossus will survive with the assistance of PD crabs and Percy's. Looks like Team 2 is pretty much running out of steam. And now we have essentially a dead zone, essentially right down the middle of the map here. With a little bit, of course, reclaiming going down here from Team 2 just to, of course, scoop up all the mass. Is that an engineer from Azuros hanging out next to all of those engineers from Team 2? I don't know if it's trying to reclaim the engineer. What is it doing? That looks like that's what it's doing. It's just constantly trying to reclaim it and just not really doing anything. Lots of bombers inbound, possibly going after that SMD. That would be a nice target. Does Team 2 have a nuke? Even if they didn't, it's still a nice thing to take out. There is some AA on its way, and I don't think it's going to be enough to stop this group of bombers, and they will go after the SMD, and they will grab it. Nice grab. He built those in response to the Colossus and was like, well, I'm not going to use them for much of anything else. And yes, he does have a nuke. Love to see it, and it is loaded as well. Ooh, that's great. 1-2 punch there if it does launch, which it looks like it might. There's no SMD here, no SMD here, no SMD here, no SMD here, and no SMD here. So he has full autonomy to target anything on Team 1's side of the map. This could be a game-winning move. And there goes the nuke. It is launching. Open up, nice little crab shell or whatever the heck you want to call it. Nice little silo there. There goes the nuke in the east. We do see a couple of units trying to take out mass from Corn, and he will take out a couple of T3 mexes here from him, but that nuke is inbound. No SMDs will be built and loaded in time, that being the caveat. SMDs will definitely be built in that time, just not loaded. And of course, this is a PSA to every single person, especially the air player. Always build your own SMD just in case, because you never know. One SMD is never going to be enough. The only unfortunate thing for Team 2 is that the air grids are split, so he's not going to get all of it, but he's going to get a huge chunk of it. Kaboom! Everything but a couple of T3 pigeons and a T3 air facility up there. Didn't target any of the mass extractors, but except one. But he did get all of those air facilities and the pigeons. That's really going to hurt Gibbs' power. He's not doing terribly, to be fair, but it's not great. Looks like he's fixing a couple things. And, of course, how much mass did that thing kill? Let's say 60,000 mass. 90,000 mass killed with that nuke. Definitely underestimated that nuke, that's for sure. I guess it did kill off a lot of T3 pigeons and facilities, to be fair. And, of course, bombers in response to this group of forces over here. We have gunships trying to stop the construction of a monkey load, which I think they will at this point, especially because there's now a monkey inbound here from Commander Keen. And he's going to laser the rest of those engineers and not going to allow them to finish construction. And it doesn't even matter. In this point, there's nothing that'll fight back against the monkey, so the monkey can just sit there. What is that monkey? It's not. There it goes. It looked like for a second it wasn't even doing damage to the monkey lord. That was very strange. There goes the T2 Pigeon. And there goes the rest of those. There are some bricks inbound, but there isn't going to be much hope in that regard. I wouldn't be surprised to see the bombers go after the monkey lord because they're right there. Down the middle here, we have a couple of monkeys and a Colossus versus a crab. That's not really going to go anywhere. The Colossus is now in range with the monkey lord's coming in range as well. That is a dead crab in the middle. Crab needs to, of course, help or get some help from those Colossi and the FAF. We're here to the west. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 experimentals right here. There goes one. Monkey will take some crash damage, but not a terrible amount. We do see an Albatross bomber inbound, but there's a lot of AA here. It should be fine to go for the first bomb, but it does not engage. It's fearful of the AA. Definitely don't blame it there. Colossus is going to start whittling down all of those AA units. But focus on the Colossus from Azuros. Azuros has been pumping out experimentals as of late. And now everybody has built an SMD. Yep, it only takes one nuke before everybody goes SMD because that's an easy counter to it. Bomber is inbound. Colossus is almost destroyed. I think it will survive one bomb. I kind of forget how much damage it does. Looks like it's 9,000 or so damage. And looks like the bomber will hover for a brief second. The T1 bombers can actually kill off the rest of the HP for that Colossus. But why not just give the unit kill to the Albatross? Why not? There's another Colossus or two inbound from Quinch. Now we see kind of this how fast can units move from a Zeros thing because there's now two Colossi and now a Colossi in front of them. So it's really going to hamper the ability for Team 2 to really, or sorry, for Team 1 to do a lot of damage, especially because that monkey's now dead. That monkey's now dead. Albatross bomber's going to come in, kill off some mass from the Rex. Definitely wasn't needed. It's going to help seal the deal. Ooh, friendly fire there on his own units. But of course it damages the Rex a little bit from the mass values that they once had. Gotta watch out for that. It looks like things have pretty much stabilized here for Team 2. Team 1 again is still pressing on this eastern side. Monkey Lord, how is that thing, was that the one that was building over here? How is that thing still alive? I thought they ended construction on it because the other Monkey Lord from Team 1 just wrecked its shop. But I guess not. A very weak Monkey Lord, I guess, is better than nothing. A couple of T2 mexes are possibly going to go down here, which won't help Keen's expansionary efforts. Team 1, of course, in the lead for the mass department now. 1.5k versus, actually 1.6, 1.5 versus 1.3 from Team 2. It is 35 minutes on the clock here. Who is going to win the game? Let me know down in the comments. Of course, I already asked that, but it's always nice to ask a second time, or at least it's nice to have a reminder. 2 crabs, though. That's not going to help with Team 2's advancement on that regard. We do see that the bomber is lining up a shot. It's only going to do minimal damage in terms of the totality of the hit points. Again, it's going to have a nice little AoE right almost in the middle of both of them, but it looks like that one kind of doesn't take as much damage, of course, as that one does. And it looks like the bomber is just going to return back to base. There are Team 1 bombers en route. I think those are just the remainder of what were used earlier on. Of course, I think one of the best plays so far has been the Team 1 bomber plus nuke play from Corn. We'll see if he can top that or not. Bomber's going after the weaker of the 2 crabs. Of course, this will just be mass that Team 1 can scoop back up, but of course it does take out an experimental, which is of course better than nothing. Bomber goes in for the kill, and that's going to dump mass on Team 1's front door. ASF moving a little bit too late, I feel like, and that bomber does land right almost on top of that Colossus. Not Colossus, that crab, excuse me. And there is some AA kind of slowly being pushed out from the middle to the edges of the lineup for Team 1. There's now a Colossus chasing a Colossus who's also has a Colossus chasing that, which is trying to go after a crab, which is a crab over there, which that crab is almost gone, I will admit, so it's not going to help things. Of course, it is 2 Colossi versus 2 crabs and a Colossus. Definitely favor Team 1 in that regard. Even if that one is severely wounded, it doesn't even matter. That one's now dead. And this one's going to die here shortly after. Not the best play here from Quinch. It's going to be a little bit of a mass dump. Obviously, the bomber adds to the mass dumping as well. Reclaim-wise, Team 1 sitting at over 200,000. Same thing for Team 2. So nothing too in favor of one way or the other. 15 or so mass, more one way or the other is going to be fixed by all of those Colossi that just died over there. So not really an advantage in that regard. And it does look like the mass totals are still favoring Team 2 now, actually. Team 1. Okay. Well, maybe not. Maybe there's a power situation. Or maybe it was a reclaim situation. Most likely a reclaim situation. That's what it looks like. Another bomber has been built and launches one of its bombs here from Coin in the east. Things are starting to die down, which makes me think artillery / lasers / game renders / all of the nice things are underway. And yes, 2 players on Team 2 have thought about that. How has Team 1 thought about that? More crabs, more fat boys, more experimentals from the frontline players. Air grid being re-expanded upon. More, and more. And we do see a nuke launcher has been built here for Commander Keen. He's going to start loading that here shortly, trying to fight back in that regard. Team 2 doesn't really have a lot of SMD coverage. There's one right here. And that can't be it. That can't be... Yeah, no, there's one right there. So there's 2 of them. I would like one right here, and those look like one gets pinged by possibly Team 1 saying, hey, there's an SMD there. How is that nuke loading, I will admit. Another nuke is outbound, speaking of which. And I don't know where it's going. Everything is covered by SMDs, so unless someone didn't load one, there's an SMD. Oh, yeah, okay, well, that one's loaded, and that one is not loaded, but the units retreat. This one isn't as well. So it could have actually edge nuked a little bit and taken out Azuros' base. Maybe. Maybe. That definitely would be a maybe on that regard. Just depends on where he threw it. SMD launches, takes out the nuke. Very unfortunate for Coin, but of course he did have that really, really good one in the beginning. Of course, he's a 1 for 2, 50% average, which isn't bad. It's not good for a test, but it's not bad. We do see some ASFs, of course, being produced by Keen as well to assist in Team 1 coming back into the airplane. Look at this, just clean sweep by Team 2's Corn. They went in for the bomber. They didn't turn around to go after the ASFs, and that is just a wipe of Team 1's ASF, and it is now, of course, firmly in Team 2's control for 134 ASFs with 9 bingo on fuel, so not really that effective, but ASF, whoa, my goodness. Remember when I said earlier on in the game that Corn wasn't building that many bombers? Remember when I said that? I will retract that statement. He is now producing a bunch of bombers. And he produced a T4 bomber. So it's a T4 bomber, T3 bombers. Just produce some Nathas and some T1s, and you have all 4 bombers. Oh, that might be a good idea for a campaign challenge, is just do all bombers. That'd be fun. I couldn't do that for the Aeon, though, because Aeons have the Mercies, so it'd be T1s and T3s only. I'd have to do it for somebody else. Maybe I'll do that for the Supreme Commander Forge Alliance campaign missions. That's a lot of bombers. That can kill a couple of comms at a minimum. 25 of them, a quarter of 100. There are a lot of units in the middle here. Decent amount of AA in the mix, though, but there's a lot of ground-to-ground units. The bombers, some of them are going to get singed, but it looks like they're going to get spotted by Team 1. I don't think it matters at this point. ASF stacking up to try to defend. The big bomber is on its way, going for that SMD, it looks like. It will drop its bomb. No, it's going to go for Azuros' commander, and it'll take out the shields. The bombers are going for the comm specifically. That is a dead comm. There are some bombers that will be taken out before they reach their targets, and that is a dead commander for Team 1's Azuros. Well, I guess Team 1 in general, and all, of course, all of the AA wiping out the rest of the ASS from Team 2's Corn, essentially nullifying their advantage in that regard. It is now 41 minutes on the clock here. Team 1 suffers another loss, and it is now a 3v4 in favor of Team 2. Oh, I guess I didn't point out when Scorpion died it was a tied-up game once again, but I pointed out now. Go, 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 says Corbin. Yeah, with those bombers gone, Team 2 does not have that many defenses. They have a couple of monkeys and a Colossus. The Emissary is almost done. The Duke is almost done, so 2 artillery emplacements are almost online for Team 2, which will be very beneficial, for at least for the, of course, backline situation. But the frontline situation, not good. SMD going down That's not good. Team 2 needs a backup, which Team 2 does have a backup, so that's good to see. But where stuff is going down, it looks like some ringing of some mech. What is going on with this situation? Possibly just rebuilding mexes for Sui and not gifting them over, I guess. I don't know. But adjacency doesn't work with friendly units. It only works with your own units. And looks like T3 mexes are being upgraded too, but that's not going to happen anytime soon, because those units are not going anywhere. We see in the west, Team 2's chap pushes in, or at least tries to, but there are 3-4 crabs. That one's still alive, I might add. And this group of units is not doing great. I love the Percys. They are one of my favorites in all of the game, but again, like I say before, 1,000 of anything will kill anything, and in this situation, 4 crabs plus a bunch of bricks and a fat boy will kill a bunch of stuff. That nuke from Keen launches, going after this position that just produced Fat Boy, and the Fat Boy knows it and is getting out of range. The SMD should be covering that though, so that should be fine. But the eastern situation is definitely worrisome, especially all of these Harbingers trying to scoot? Something. Slide by on the eastern side. Lots of bombers are being produced to try to handle that. That nuke does get shot down. But it does look like there are some missiles outbound from Team 1 though. Yep, no, that's artillery. I kind of wish they made the projectiles a little bit different depending on if it's artillery or missiles, but they at least made the Billy Nuke look like a tiny Billy Nuke symbol, which I do appreciate, because as casters it's nice to be able to differentiate stuff a lot easily. But these units are starting to be hampered by the tons and tons of PD that have been and are continuing to be built by those engineers from Corn. He's doing actually a pretty good job of just ripping them apart. I think those were E-storages that went down. That's not a good thing, but of course it looks like he should be fine for the time being. Looks like the forces are actually shifting a little bit westward, trying to avoid the PD, but there's just more and more of it being built over here, so they're just being put into a kill box. Colossus is going to go down before it does any major damage. Fat Boy is pushing in, does have some AA being built around it. Crab over here as well. Team 2 is being pummeled by experimentals, but they should be fine. Looks like Corn's commander trying to be targeted, and the comm of Corn should be fine. There's a lot of PD here. They should be able to rip that Colossus apart very quickly here. Overcharge, I think, went in from the comm. There goes the Colossus, and the comm actually doesn't even take a hit. Of course, the worrisome thing is that Fat Boy that can easily take out some P-gens. Of course, the comm isn't standing next to P-gens, which is good, but still, it is going to really hurt his air facilities at least. Oh, that was not good. That was not good for Team 2's Corn. Not good at all. Looks like in the west, artillery fire raining in from the Fat Boy over there. And it's not looking good here for Corn. The nuke is going to go down. Not a good thing here for Team 2. Not a good thing. And it looks like Corn has dealt with most of the ground units except for that Fat Boy, who's just exclusively producing Cougars to deal with the T1 bombers that Corn is constantly producing, which is, again, a good counter because there's a lot of them over there. And Corn's base is not doing good. His nuke is down. His air grid's cut in half and still being cut down to smithereens. We have a lot of ASFs for Team 1 over here. Essentially airlocking Team 2. We have a Colossus and a Crab over here just having a nice little hug-out session. It looks like the Colossus is going to beat out the Crab, though. Sui's commander's still hanging out. He's going for an upgrade down here, just hanging out. Not really anything too worrisome here for Team 1 to worry about. We do see, of course, those 2 artillery pieces are online, and they are targeting the grid over here to the north for Commander Keen. The nuke is being spam loaded, and Corn is defeated by Gib. It just was a matter of time with the Fat Boy and all that other stuff. It wasn't really going his way at that point. I think he felt that it was just kind of the end of his game, so he just sent his comm in, maybe tried to go for the Fat Boy, but just couldn't make it happen. So it is now a 3v3 tied-up game once again at 46 minutes. But you see, of course, the artillery is raining into the north. Actually, it's splitting off. It's going 1 for the grid over here and 1 for the SMD over here. Unfortunately, the nuke is no longer a viable option. So, yeah, it's nice to take out SMD, but if you don't really have a nuke to use it with, it's maybe a misdirection, but isn't as useful as it could be Two monkeys continuing to charge these Fat Boys. Fat Boy is gone. Second Fat Boy barely gets into range for a brief moment, but it's not going anywhere. There are multiple Fat Boys online for JFK, and they are not going to let that Fat Boy out of their sight. In the east, Crab continuing to push. Looks like it's going to go after this SMD and take that out. Wasn't even loaded, but again, one less SMD to worry about just in case. Of course, Team 2 wants to take SMDs out because they still have a nuke, and that, of course, is a really viable option. Is there an SMD backup in this grid? No, there's one over here, but that's not even loaded. If Team 1's Commander Keen has a nuke, that could be the end of it. It doesn't have one loaded, but it is half loaded already there, so soon the nuke will be a viable option. Swee has teleporter online. He's going to go for laser. Looks like he needs more power. He got everything over here from Corn's old base, so he has some mass to his name, some power, which is better than nothing. Artillery looks like it's raining in on JFK's position, and even if they take out JFK, Team 1 still has 2 commanders remaining, so this force will be stopped slightly, but not entirely. We just see essentially the cornering of Team 2. Team 2 was doing decently well in the air and the whatnot, but the experimentals are turning the tide of the affair for sure. Not looking good for Team 2. If you're rooting for Team 2, if you're rooting for Team 1, looks good for them, but of course things can change in a moment. The shields are down around JFK's commander, and that shot is going straight for him. At least it looks like it was. Nope, misses him. It strikes nearby, doesn't take a lick of damage there. And in the east, that Fat Boy continuing to pressure and pressure. Colossus goes down. Colossus being spam belt. Looks like that one should be fine, but again, the Fat Boy is going to be the worrisome thing. Its range, of course, can outrange the Colossus, so it can sit back, relax, and have a nice cup of tea while the other units duke it out. We see another group of forces, mainly AA, but still some ground-to-ground units here over the east for Colonel Keen to continue to push. Again, Swee, are you building laser? I would presume you are not. You are not doing that. You are building more P-gens. At this point, he already has teleporting. Might as well just produce the laser and go for it. What has he got to lose at this point? Not looking good here for Team 2 on any direction, and I don't think he has time to go for a laser because those are strap bombers. They're inbound. The comm is moving, but of course they're going to lean into the P-gens, and that's going to be a kill anyways. There he goes. Oh, that was rough, and he does get killed by Gib. He does not die by quote-unquote Control K, and it is now a 3v2 game, and we can see it is slowly favoring Team 1, and of course with the nuke from Team 1. Apologies for that. My game just alt-tabbed for some reason as I zoomed in. Don't really know what happened there, but that was weird. Looks like the comm of Quinch is going to take some damage from those bombers, but again, the nuke is inbound, and it's not going to go well here for Team 2 because that'll take out this artillery piece. I think this one would be spared just barely. If it was shifted over to the west, that would have been, I think, the best nuke in the game, but here it goes. Kaboom! Kills off the artillery, kills off the comm, leaving Chap alone to fight against Team 1. Mass kill, but that's 79,000, 80,000 mass killed. Drop bombers coming in, taking out the rest of this position. Chickens being produced for the very first time here in this game, and they do finish off one of them, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough. And with the death, of course, of everybody else on Team 2, Chap is not looking good. He has 1 artillery to his name. Looks like he made JFK actually move, so that was something, but not really a big thing, not a big victory. Small victory, but not as much to carry the weight of the entire team at this point. And of course, at this point, I think I'm just going to speed it up to +2 because we can see where this game is going. There's really no way for Team 2 to come back. He'd have to snipe 3 commanders, and they're all underneath shield coverage. And he doesn't have a game ender. He doesn't have any sort of big ticket items kind of thing. He has 1 satellite, but again, even that combo is not going to be enough. Grabs continuing to pressure here with the Fat Boys assisting, and there's a lot of Fat Boys here for Team 1's JFK. 5 of them, in fact. The one in the east really just hanging out, but that one's helped out a lot, though, to be fair. 173,000 mass killed. This is the one that killed off the comm, killed off the base down here. He's done a lot of work here for Team 1's Gib, so it definitely paid for itself and a lot more than some. Looks like the crab might be taken out by the Fat Boy from Team 2, but again, it's not going to be enough. There are Fat Boys now going in for the laser. The laser's going to go down. Tactical nuke being loaded very quickly here for Chaps Com. And there goes another nuke from Team 1's Commander Keen. And that might be a wrap here, folks. 52 minutes on the clock here. Will Chap control K? Will he just let the nuke kill him? I don't know. It's going to be close. Strap Bomber's taking up the rest of that base to the east. Here comes the nuke. Billy Nuke is landed, but it doesn't matter. He tries to move, but kaboom! There it goes. Team 1 wins the game. Commander Keen gets the victory little notification there that he won the game, which I guess is very poignant because he's the one that launched the nuke that actually ended the game. But that is the game here, folks. Team 1 wins the game. 52 minutes, 53 seconds here on the clock. Couldn't have been 1 second shorter. Make it 52-52. But that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Of course, share this video with anyone, everyone, and especially your pets. An MVP for this game. Honestly, I think Commander Keen did a very good job on this eastern side. JFK did a very good job on this western side as well. It's kind of hard because it was a combined push with Gib as well down this eastern side here. And I'm going to give the Mupp Award, the most underrated player award, definitely to Keen. But I do think Gib just eked it out a little bit. Of course, he builds a bug because why not? But I think he eked it out just a little bit more because he was definitely the spearhead that punched through a lot of this on this eastern side. And, of course, got the kill and the damage destroyed. The base destroyed on Corn, which really set the game up for Team 1 to win this thing. Essentially, that was the start of the demise for Team 2. That corner gets taken out, and then everything else gets taken out west of that. So I think definitely Keen, he was close for sure to be MVP, but I do think Gib eked it out just a little bit, but Keen does get the most underrated player of the game award in my book. Thanks so much for watching again, and I will see all of you in the next one. And like I said, in the beginning portions of the game, I wanted to illustrate how Corbin died, and I was wrong. I thought he died by Corsairs, and no, he died by Jesters. As you can see right here, this group of Jesters is inbound, which does, of course, explain why there wasn't a lot of reclaim, because they all blew up. And so that would make a lot more sense, but here they come. They go in, and going after Corbin's commander. They're going to blitz him down very quickly here. One little interceptor, which isn't going to be enough to deal with the rest of those Jesters. And there goes the hit points very, very quickly here. 3,000, 2,000. And then the Corsairs come in and really deal the final blow. So I guess there were some Corsairs, but it was mainly driven by those Jesters. So again, that's how Corbin died. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see all of you in the next one.